So here with my good friend and human goodwill, as he's commonly known amongst us here in Perth, is Mr. Damien Porter of Eat Well, Move Well, and we're going to try and give you guys today the rundown on all things keto, from the kind of real basics right up to some really cool stuff that Damien's learned from the pioneers of the game, shall we say. So what we'll start off with, Damien, is really simple. Is what is ketosis and what are ketones for those of us that don't know?
Okay, thanks, Mark. And thanks for reaching out as well, especially given your digital detox.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a shout out for Mark there. Spot on doing such a great thing, not only for your mind, but also for your biochemistry as well. So that's really cool. I appreciate you taking some time out for that. So to answer your question, ketosis and what are ketones? So ketosis is the state of having ketones in your bloodstream. That's simply it. And you can make those ketones from either your own body fat or you can drink them. Doesn't matter which one, but that's the state of ketosis. Having ketones in your bloodstream, and that's essentially what we do when we burn fat.
Cool. So ketones, what are those?
What are ketones? So ketones are a breakdown of body fat into a water-soluble thing. There's actually three of those things. One's called acetone. They're fancy words. Acetone, acetoacetate, and beta-hydroxybutyrate, but they're ketone things or ketone bodies. And your fat has to break down into those to be burnt as fuel, to do fat burning, because you can't burn fat because it's not water soluble. So you have to turn them into ketones to then break down and be burnt as fuel.
Cool. So other than the obvious fat loss that we've already spoke about, and that, let's be honest, that predominantly is the very attractive component of ketones and ketosis currently for a lot of people, is its fat loss properties. But why else are ketones so beneficial for the human body?
That's probably one of the best questions I've ever had, Mark, from anybody in any of my lectures or any of my consultations. The ketogenic diet, that's the diet that makes ketones. It's been around since Jesus' time, since times of fasting, but more importantly, it was known to stop seizures. So the Romans and the Greeks used it, but what they did was to just starve people. And that kind of sucks. So if we think more realistically, an epileptic child or an epileptic infant, we know that a diet low in carbohydrates, there's a certain trick to that, but one that produces ketones will stop their seizures.
That's amazing.
And exactly what that means is 50% of those children that are on medication, it fails. So the ketogenic diet, or making ketones in your bloodstream, works for 75% of them. And actually works so well, which was your question, that the drug companies are trying to make a drug that looks like one of those ketone bodies because their drug's failing.
Yeah.
People know that if they go put the kid on the ketogenic diet, the drug works amazingly well. So your question was, what else is it good for apart from fat loss? Well, holy cow, if your kid is having seizures 100 a day, and I'm seeing some horrible stories, parents crying their eyes out, and they get ketones into their kids, the seizures stop. The seizures stop. They can actually say they love mummy. It's a huge thing. Oh my God, you actually get to see the kid talk. So what is it good for? Ketones will do prevention of seizures, be it from, and this will come up later on, I assume, be it from making them from your own body fat or drinking them. And have you seen how hard it is to stop a kid from eating sugar?
Yes.
You're not there yet, Mark, but I'm sure you will, my friend.
I used to teach that.
And so down the track, so neurological benefits. So neurological in the brain, that's where the seizures start. So that can then push on to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ADHD, and autism. And in fact, autistic children, their brainwaves look like an epileptic seizure. So they're doing research now on autism, but they've done some studies on Parkinson's and it alleviating seizures and also helping them incorporate their sense of smell. What else will it impact? It'll impact your hunger and your cravings. So people on a high-fat, low-carb diet get less hungry. It'll help them handle sugar better. It'll help decrease anxiety. So the paper that a lot of people read in December 2016 shows that ketones are reducing anxiety, helping the brain to balance out the chemicals in there. So that's just to name a few, but what are the benefits of ketones apart from fat loss? Fat loss is a side effect. Fat loss is you're burning fat to make ketones. Ketones are the key. If you really want to know the main benefit of ketones, they are a powerful signaling molecule that tell your body to do different things.
Fantastic. Well, that goes on to my next question, but answers the majority of it. It was, in layman's terms, what is the ketogenic diet and who is it for? But the sounds of things, it's more who's it not for?
Great question. Who's it not for? So it's hard to do. I mean, you talked about at the start, fat loss looks really attractive. Well, it's a hard diet to do. I've done it for a long time. It's pretty easy for me to do, but why are most people not on it? Because it's a bit difficult to do that, and it's not the norm. But who is it not for? It's not for the person that wants to diet and eat like a little pigeon. Because if you combine low carbs and low calories, I guarantee you that you'll ruin your metabolism. You'll ruin your thyroid. You'll ruin your sex hormones. So if you combine a ketogenic or a low carb diet with low calories, or if you basically starve yourself, then your brain will do smart things and it'll slow you down, so it should. So it's not for someone, and this is literally think on the fly, it's not for someone who doesn't know what they're doing and maybe is a bit OCD and will go overboard. It's for someone that has information, the right information about how to do a well-formulated ketogenic diet.
And what's the makeup in terms of, let's simple terms for people? I know you've said high fat, low carb, but in my kind of limited experience with some people, a lot of people, instead of going naturally from maybe paleo into keto, they get confused that they're actually one of the same thing. And a lot of people have the high fat, high protein. But in my experience, that has been that can be dangerous because obviously the excess amounts of protein, especially from the protein shakes ladled with sugar, just would knock you out any possible chance you have of ketosis. Am I right in saying that? So what should be the kind of macronutrient ratio?
Absolutely. And look, we see this all the time. So the answer straight up, so if anybody wants to write it down, is a well-formulated ketogenic diet, and this is from the professors that are experts in this, is 70 to 75% fat.
Cool.
20 to 25% protein, given the activity, and about 5% carbs. You see, I've given you some leeway there. If, as you said, if you go high protein, you are not going to get ketosis happen, because the protein is too high, it's too much stuff, and it gets turned into sugar inside your body, and therefore you're a sugar burner on low carb, and that just sucks. You got no energy, and you're trying really hard to stay on some crazy diet, and you weren't on a well-formulated and well-researched since 1870 ketogenic diet. You know, it's only been, what's the math said? Is that 146 years?
Yeah, 147 years, something like that.
So they know how to do it, but some person reads some article and some opinion paper online about what ketosis is or a ketogenic diet. It's not high protein. And as you said, dangerous. I'll change that word to inflammatory. You take extra protein, it's inflammatory. Extra whey protein. Whey protein is okay, but extra whey protein is inflammatory. Do you want inflammation? Sure as heck not if you've got some inflammation in your joints, if you've got underlying metabolic effects, and if you've got any kind of cancers or anything like that. We don't want to be inflamed.
Cool. So I know the term that you use for the amount is the appropriate amount of protein. You say, so what would that typically look like? And for the kind of muscle heads out there of us all that want to keep training, would that, because that obviously throws everything out of whack. So a lot of people, obviously, we get told that carbs were the way to go and we needed them for pretty much everything. Then we started to suss out that wasn't quite true. And then everyone thought the answer to everything was just to go high protein. And we just discussed that that's not really true either. But for the people that performance-wise, that train quite a lot, what is an appropriate amount of protein? What does that look like? And just so that they obviously don't go catabolic.
That's a great question. And context for why I'm sitting in front of you, Mark, I mean, I know you know why I am, but I've just come back from a symposium with the latest research from the top professors. We're talking from Professor Don D'Agostino. So he researches ketones, ketogenic diet, cancer, brain function, and so on. Then there's Professor Jacob Wilson, University of Tampa. He researches ketogenic diet, ketones, and performance, which is what you just asked. So for most people, doing the diet would be the palm of their hand protein at lunchtime and dinner, roughly, and probably not having that at breakfast, but you could if you want, but not going overboard. But for the muscle heads, I think we said, or gym rats, or for the guys like me that want to put a bit of muscle on, so this is the kicker that will change the game. I really mean that. If somebody that's into resistance training, into performance, takes nothing away, but this is a game changer. Ketones are anabolic signalers. The reason why is this. Why do you eat protein, Mark?
Hi, wife. Brilliant. That was like that one. I don't know if you've seen it, if anyone's watching this would be at current. And it was some newsreader. I think it was in the UK, and his kids come running in the background. Real life, real time, guys. For me, when I eat protein, I want to recover after. Recover
your muscles?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, in a scientific way, protein is there for tissue repair, and you said after doing exercise, that's the context of this, repairing tissue. Well, ketones provide the energy for that process, because that process requires an energy component, and that can be either carbohydrates, or you have to use some of that protein normally to provide the sugar for that energy, gluconeogenesis. Ketones provide the energy for muscle protein synthesis, growth, strength, faster, stronger, whatever, and then allows all the protein to be used for tissue repair. So in that essence, ketones are anabolic, not just anti-catabolic. So because of that, you don't need to eat extra protein. I used to take tons just to make sure that I had the amount. So the amount that everybody's waiting for, the number, Dr. Jacob Wilson, or Professor Jacob Wilson, states 1.7 grams per kilo of body weight.
Cool.
No more. Dr. D'Agostino states around about 1.2 grams per kilo of body weight. But either way, you can still grow muscle on that. And that's why, because these things tell your body to do stuff. And one of those things is to improve your muscle protein synthesis.
That's cool. So is that those 1.1, 1.2 to 1.7 per kilo, is that per day?
Yes.
Yes. Cool. Cool. Now, something that obviously the further that I've learned about ketones and the ketogenic diet and everything, it just blows your mind. But like everything in life, you've got to have the two sides to the coin. You can't have the challenge and the greatness, I suppose, without someone trying to come in and spoil the party a little bit. So a lot of people have had coming up their concerns about diabetics and going on, and people asking about ketoacidosis. So could you just explain that term and talk about how that may affect diabetics?
Absolutely. So we've got ketosis, the state of burning body fat into ketones or drinking ketones. It's having ketones in your bloodstream. That's what ketosis is. End of description. Ketogenesis is making ketones from your fat. In your description. Ketoacidosis is a life-threatening condition, so it's bloody dangerous. Better bring an ambulance. Experienced only by type 1 diabetics and one other person in the whole world in research, only by type 1 diabetics, and it's blood sugar that's skyrocketing, so out of control, and skyrocketing ketone levels. And when we say that, we're talking ketone levels above 15.0 millimoles. And the highest I've ever had is 2.5. I'm not sure what you've had, maybe 2.5, 3.
Yeah,
we're talking out of control blood sugar and out of control ketones. life-threatening type 1 diabetics, or like I said, one other person has a published paper on him in the world. So that's ketoacidosis. Now, that's me sitting in front of you, a fireman, not giving out medical advice, know a few things, researched a few people, lucky enough to be associated with the best people in the world at this. I had someone go to a chemist the other day, and they said, oh, no, you can't go near ketones. That's ketoacidosis. You might die. That chemist has some information, but it's not the latest information, and it's incorrect. A little information makes us dangerous, and ketoacidosis can only be experienced by those type 1 diabetics, and you've got to have sugar that's out of control. If you're making ketones, your sugar can't get out of control, because if you eat carbs in too high an amount, you stop making ketones. And if you drink too much of these things, you'll pee it out. And if you're like me, I've gone through about 8 in one day, had to have a huge day. It was crazy. I wasn't in ketoacidosis.
Cool. 8? Jeez.
That's what happens when you have about an 18-hour day in front of all those experts, and you haven't been allowed a meal break.
Just on, but that's an important point, though, Damien. That the body will just expend any surplus, if you like. It does just urinate it out. That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they're water soluble. Remember, I said you make ketones from your body fat, but you need to make it water soluble. So if there's extra ketone bodies, you just pee them out. Unless you're a type 1 diabetic, you don't need to worry about excess ketones.
Cool. So, up until this point, anyone that hasn't heard of ketones, ketosis, ketogenic diets or anything, they'll be thinking, oh my God, this is too good to be true. So, is the diet sustainable for life, given the fact that we've been brought up with this, the grains, the food pyramid, with the grains and the breads and the pastas and the bagels and all the starches at the bottom, and people, I think there's a movement just now. I think people are starting to wake up that, do you know what, we've been told this lie for 40, 50 years. It must be a lie, because we're all getting sick, but some of us are actually stringently following what we've been told, yet cancer's up, Hashimoto's is up, type 2, type 1 diabetes, all this illnesses and disease have never been at their worst just now. So I think people are starting to kind of make the correlation that maybe what we've been told about these carbohydrates and glucose and sugar isn't actually in fact true. But the keto diet, though, is that sustainable for life, or should there be points where we should be having some carb intake?
Great question. I think what I think doesn't matter. So the research shows that if someone's doing what they call a cyclical ketogenic diet, that's going low carbs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, and then having lots of carbs on Saturday, Sunday, guess what happens? No ketones Monday, no ketones Tuesday, no ketones Wednesday, ketones on Thursday, ketones on Friday, lots of carbs Saturday, Sunday. How do they feel on Monday? And Tuesday and Wednesday? That sucks. So that's not sustainable. And that's an incorrect way of doing it. Again, back to a well-formulated ketogenic diet, you don't have to have excessive amount of carbs because of this. Your liver will produce around about 180 grams of sugar, glucose, per day. Your liver will make that. And Jeff Volek, Dr. Jeff Volek, or Professor Jeff Volek, he showed that these athletes on very low carbs, it's 30 grams a day. If you look at Ben Greenfield, he was one of the subjects in the FASTER study. Please Google FASTER study, Volek, Finney, Phinney, and you'll see real science, not these articles that people read. And he showed they had the same muscle sugar, muscle glycogen content that the carbohydrate group did after being keto adapted. So no, you don't have to come off it. But if you do, if you're like those people on the cyclical keto diet, then drink your ketones on the Monday.
Yeah.
But there's a tool. So as physiologically, no, don't come off it. You don't need to do that. But psychologically / real word, going to a wedding on Saturday, want to have all those beautiful foods, use a tool to help you get back into ketosis straight away. I think that would be a well-rounded answer.
Cool. So the likes of the typical bodybuilders, they talk about cheat days or reward days or cheat meals and things like that. I don't agree with it. I don't agree. I've done it, so I'm by no means judging them. But I just think the psychology that you're affirming with the brain is that you're doing something wrong. So how can you ever enjoy it if you're cheating? Do you know what I mean? So, but these people have found something that they're really passionate about, and I've been quite judgmental in my past towards the bodybuilding guys, but they've found something that they're happy, that they're trying to make themselves better, and they're inspiring other people to do it. Fair enough, but I think we just need to help open their minds a little bit as to what else is out there. And I want to, if possible, I know we're kind of jumping between questions here, but if you could talk about the big man, which is it Tony Freeman?
Yeah, Tony Freeman.
Just for anyone that's listening that's thinking, oh, but what about my cheat meals and my reward days and all this kind of stuff? But now, for some of the guys, they do cheat. I mean, I've seen people with macas and all this other stuff, and then these silly memes, if it fits my macros and all this other silly stuff. But some of them just will, maybe like fajitas or a baked potato, something like that will be like a reward to them. But based on the last question, they actually don't really need to do that. And if you can flash a picture of this big guy, if you've got him there.
Yeah, I mean, you might have seen this magazine. It's a great magazine by the guys, but you got Tony Freeman. Now, as I said, I was lucky enough to have a chat to a lot of people, a lot of experts here. And him to my face, when I met him, no one else was there, he eats twice a day. And it's huge. He's not competing anymore, but I do believe he's making a comeback this year, which is going to be mind-blowing. He eats 2 meals a day to maintain all that muscle. How does he do that? As I said, ketones are anabolic signalers. He uses all that protein to build that muscle, to maintain it. So he doesn't lose that muscle. And I didn't ask him about cheat days, which is the context of this question. You've put up a whole bunch of points, Mark. And, I mean, again, context for those people that don't know me, I was Mr. Pan Pacific, Mr. New Zealand, Special Forces operator as well. So I know how to build muscle, I know how to have functional muscle, and I know how to win. But I also know how to have my head right. And I didn't start lifting weights because I had small man syndrome. I lifted weights because my dad had some weights in the basement, and I asked him, how do you move those things? Show me how to use those. But if they're getting a cheat meal, you said something about doing something wrong, either way, their head's not right. Either they want to go cheat and that's wrong, and there's a willpower thing there, or they wanted to get off what they were doing. So back to sustainability. Man, tonight's dinner, let me think. For dessert, I'm going to be having a huge amount of berries. The carbohydrates will be about 50 grams. I have lots of mascarpone cheese, cream, really fatty, beautiful dessert. Tasty as, a little bit of vanilla stevia. It's going to be beautiful and tasty. I don't need to go out and get, I don't know what you do for dessert, ice cream and things. I don't need to do that because this is like your low-carb ice cream. Lunch day was beautiful. High fat, tastes great. The carbohydrates, you crave them afterwards. So the cheat day, I completely disagree with it, but the science shows it's not required to raise your carbohydrate content. And then further from that, the latest research on ketogenic diet, 6 weeks of training of a ketogenic diet crowd, 6 weeks of training on a normal carbohydrate crowd, same amount of muscle growth. These guys got leaner.
Brilliant.
So what did carbs do? Nothing. The same amount of muscle growth, and these guys actually got a bit leaner.
That's brilliant, and that's going to lead seamlessly into the next question there. So you're saying for dessert tonight, you're going to have your carbs then. Why? That's another taboo subject, and another thing we've been told that typically breakfast and don't touch them at night. Why would we be advised now to eat our carbs at night?
Great question. I hopefully put it simply, and hopefully some people are still listening without me geeking out. My carbs will come in at, say, 6 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock tonight. After that, I'm going to be asleep till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So I haven't got food coming in. And then I'm not going to have carbs again until about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock that same night. So I've got about 18 hours of no carbohydrates. So what am I burning then? I'm burning fats. If my protein's too high, I'll be burning protein into sugar, and I'm really hating my diet. But I'll be burning fats. Either the fat I put in my mouth, if I put too much in, I'll just use that. and also my body fat. So the reason why at night is because I want to have a fast overnight, not eating too much carbs, around about 50 grams or less, and then continue that fast until I break it. And I won't break that fast until I either have a high protein meal or I have a high carbohydrate meal. So that's the reason why. And you're just replacing those glycogen stores a little bit, but you're going to replace them anyway. Your liver does that. It regulates over time.
Good old liver, eh? Now, in terms of selecting certain foods, and obviously if you were to get into a natural state of ketosis, if you like, a ketogenesis, doing that from diet alone, and then you slip and you don't quite have your amounts of carbs, there's maybe too much, or as soon as you have any sort of carbs, am I right in saying that knocks you straight out of ketosis if you're doing it from food alone?
If you have enough carbs that enough insulin comes out,
yep.
Think of it like this. So Dr. Adam Nelly, a bariatric doctor, so he's a fat doctor, he calls himself. He specialises in that. He's done this diet for about 13 years, maybe 15 years with his patients. He likens it to this. Your fat cell has a few ways of getting fat into it to grow. Awesome. But it's only got one door out, one door for letting fat out. If you eat enough sugar, rice, gummy bears, your body just knows sugars, enough insulin comes out that it closes that back door.
Yeah.
Closes that back door, you can't get that fat out, and of course you've got to turn fat into ketone bodies to be burned. So if the answer is too much, basically I think 6 to 8 grams or under would be fine. So if you have say a protein bar with a small amount of that, maybe, as long as the protein's not too high. But as soon as your carbs come around about probably 30 to 50 grams, and depending on the person, that'll start to stop the ketones a little bit. But the number at night, I'd say more than, well, the formulated diets is 30 to 50 grams. The scientists put on 30 grams of carbohydrate a night. Sometimes you start at 50. You might be able to handle more, Mark, in all the exercise you do. Some people with their huge muscles, lots of exercise, they might be able to handle 100 grams. But if the insulin's too high, it stops it coming out, that'll knock you out. If you're knocked out, that's 3 days to get back in.
Cool. What's the optimal reading for nutritional ketosis?
That's a tough call, and I'm always learning, and that's the interesting thing I'd like to touch on at the end about why we're always learning about ketones. So if you measure 2.5 and I measure 1.1, it's not the old size matters thing here. We're not comparing numbers. It just might be that maybe I uptake them way better than you, or maybe you naturally produce more. So it is actually a relative amount to the individual.
Okay.
But everybody will want to be above about 0.7 millimoles, blood millimoles. Yeah. At 0.7 millimoles, you'll achieve all those therapeutic effects, reduced hunger, reduced cravings, brain's going to switch on, all those things. 0.7 up, and it really is 0.7 up. Like I said, I don't know what your numbers are, but our numbers may be completely different.
Cool. So for anyone that doesn't know, the millimoles is the finger prick, the blood testing for the ketones, and that's the BHB that we're looking at.
It is correct, yes.
Yeah, which is beta hydroxybutyrate that we spoke about earlier. Just if the guys are wondering where's all these initials coming from, that's one of the 3 types of ketone bodies that Damien was talking about earlier. Now, something that I come across, and it shits me. I've got to laugh a little bit about it, but we've grew up really, and we're living in a very privileged time with the information that's available literally under our thumbs now. But there's a lot of this peacocking, not just within the health and fitness or the health and wellness industry, but the world at large. Everyone wants to know more than the other person, but that's pointless if you're not going to apply it and change your behaviour. And I see this a lot of times when people find out, if I'm doing like a nutritional consult with someone new in the gym, and we're looking at base level stuff, so how much veggies are you having in your diet? And that you think would be a given, that we know we should be eating more, but yet we don't. So then when I maybe talk about the Juice Plus supplementation, people say, oh, can I not just do that from diet? And I say, well, yeah, you can, but how's that working out for you? And that's another question that has came when I've spoke about ketones and ketosis, is people saying, can you not just naturally do that? And I said, yes, you can. But again, how's that working out for you? So in today's world, would you be an advocate for, or would you recommend exogenous or ketone supplementation more than the ketogenic diet, just because of its ability to get you into that state quicker and more fluent, if you like?
I think you've nailed it there, Mark. Taking exogenous ketones can then allow you to change your diet. Unless you just want to go low carb and have the keto flu and life sucks for 3 days to sometimes for people 3 months.
3 months.
I mean, that's extreme when you haven't got energy. And let me give you an example. I've got a friend, and I say this in my lectures. I don't know if I said it in any lectures with you. I've got a friend, so we don't give friends advice. So I definitely don't, because it doesn't go down very well. But she was on no carb for 2 years, 0 carb. She paid about $30,000 for some advice over this time. It's a lot of money. And they no carb, so she's tough-willed. Well, I gave her some ketones. So I gave her ketones for 5 days, ketones that you drink. And on day 2 and day 3, she said she feels amazing. And I gave it to her as a friend, and it clicked. I went, hang on, are you telling me in 2 years you've never felt what ketones are like in your brain? And she said, yeah. I said, what the hell were you eating? And her protein was so high that she was burning sugar, turning protein into sugar, gluconeogenesis, and she had no carbs because she was tough but hated life.
Yeah, don't blame her.
Yeah, exactly. So, and she spent $30,000. The people were supposed to be educated that were telling her, and she's supposed to be learning. So the answer to your question is, I believe that you should start taking the ketones and change your diet at the same time, and the ketones will give you the tool to change your diet for the better. That's the way I think it can go. But yes, those people are right. You can do it just with Juice Plus for organic veggies. I'm not sure the amounts you got to eat, but I know it'll be around about 9 cups.
Minimum, yeah.
But you can do it, and you can do ketogenic diet. Absolutely, I completely agree. But the research shows that the higher levels of ketones you have in your body for longer get the transporters of ketones into your cells more. So you get more highways to your cells for ketones. Instead of just one highway, you get lots and lots and lots. So there's no downside to it. It's definitely upsides. That is my answer.
Brilliant. Currently, you touched on at the start of the interview, you said thank you to me for breaking the digital detox, because last week I was just feeling a little heavy, a little sluggish. There's been a lot of big moves in the personal and the business life, and I was just feeling a little bit stagnant. So I was like, right, I'm going to clean up the diet a little bit and just kind of take some time away from the heavy kind of laptop life that we all love. But one of the things I'm doing primarily to detox is like a little cleanse, and just chugging down charcoal, and I'm still having my lemon zinger in the morning. But one thing that I haven't changed is the supplementation with exogenous ketones, and that's something that someone else asked me. They said, but would that not affect your juicing and juice fasting, things like that? I mean, like yesterday I only had water. This morning, because I went back to boxing last night as well. So again, it's a kind of mindset thing. I think if you commit to it and you know that your body's always guiding you, you're fine. But I had the ketones in the system. So anyone that's saying to me, if they knew that I'd only drank water that day, they'd be going, oh my, how are you surviving? Because I don't actually need anything else. Even just now, I had a juice this morning. I did feel a little bit peckish because I worked out twice yesterday, only in water. So Sam had some homemade chili, veggie chili there. So I had a little bit of that, but that's really been it. So for people that are avid fasters or into juicing and cleansing and things like that, ketone supplementation would complement that, right? It wouldn't with the sugars, the natural sugars from the fruits, it wouldn't override the ketones. The ketones would be the primary selection. Great point. You've sort of brought 2 points up there. So if they're fasting, they'll be juicing their own ketones, hopefully. Yeah. Fasting and exercising, bring them on faster. When you're drinking them,
you can have ketones in your bloodstream and glucose. So that's your juice fast. And remember, when there's too much sugar, it brings out insulin. Insulin closes the door to the fat cell. You can't get ketones out. But if you're drinking them, you still got ketones in your bloodstream. So no, it won't switch it off at all. In fact, we know that ketone bodies are going to reduce inflammation. They block two inflammation pathways, and they're going to help your liver and brain. And that's what you came to the second point. Your liver will function better. Your brain, eyes, and heart will function really, really well. So your brain, in the presence of glucose, will preference ketones. And latest research shows all your cells will preference what they need. So when you go and punch someone in the head, as you do with a bit of boxing, you're going to use creatine and a bit of glycogen. Do it enough times and you produce lactic acid. But then between your rounds, if you've got these in your system, between the rounds you use this. So your brain will be able to think better. If you're just a sugar guy, in between rounds you're like, oh my God, I've used all my sugar. So the brain and all your body systems are smart enough to go, which one can I use? But if you don't have them on board, and if you're eating sugars, you won't have them on board, you can only choose glucose, you're stuck. So it's dual fuel.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I know we spoke about this the last time. I was training a guy for a fight, and I was talking to him about getting into the ketogenic diet, and I said, listen, don't suffer, because if I knew this stuff years ago, I would have had far greater results with my own training and my own performance. But he was adamant that it was just carbs, or protein shake straight away after the gym. He was doing some stuff right, but it was that fighter's mentality where they fight everything instead of actually going with it. And I said, listen, just try it and see how you feel. He never got there, but I detailed that story to you the last time, and you spoke about marathon runners maybe going into the last 500 metres or something, and if the guy is sugar adapted versus the guy that's sugar and fat adapted, that last 500 metres, the fat adapted guy is just going to kick on because he's got the reserves there. But I'll leave the punchline to you to deliver to the guys. Can you just tell us, if you remember, what you said for people that are training for specific sporting or physical performance, what the motto would be in terms of ketones?
Thank you. And I actually said this to a CrossFitter the other day. I say to them, train low, race high.
Yes. Love it.
So what I mean by that is train low carb, low carb, low carb, low carb. So you make your own ketones. And then when you race, have both. How do you have both? You eat sugars, you eat your carbohydrates, and you drink them. How do you have ketones? Just go low carb. But I also tell them, train low, race high, but also test high every now and then. Because say, for instance, the CrossFitter or the 400 meter runner, if they're always low carb, they may not always have enough glycogen on board to do their absolute best. So they may not have the confidence. So train low, race high, and test. So I have a trial every 3 or 4 weeks of, hey, here's lots of carbs on Friday night. I'm going to go and run my guts out, punch my guts out on Saturday with ketones as well. Because we want dual fuel. You don't want just one or the other. You want to cheat and have both.
That's amazing. Just as we're coming to the end here, Damo, can you tell us what your biggest takeaways were from your latest trip over to the States, and actually just tell the guys why you were over there? And you've touched on some of the people you met, but just, give us some of the anecdotal stuff, but obviously you being you, the science-backed things as well. And just, I get really excited seeing you. I could just feel, you were buzzing.
Absolutely, and I was. I got into ketones because I wanted to run faster on my big test. I knew that the Navy SEALs and Special Forces units, Delta Force, were taking these. That's a pretty silly little need, isn't it? Unless I wasn't even competing. I'm not big testing for the World Championship. So that's why I took them. And maybe I might get a bit leaner. But they were made for the Navy SEALs so they wouldn't die during their diving. And then we know that seizure kids were taking them. That's pretty exciting. But then they started doing research. And that's what I learned over there. I learned what the research was into it. Because they're going, what do these things do? They know some things they did. to go, what else they do? And so I'll give you an example. And this is a paper that's being written on a subject. So this was Ryan Lowry and Professor Jacob Wilson. At the time, they were University of Tampa, and also they were Applied Science Performance Institute, ASPE. And these guys are great. And speaking to them firsthand is mind-blowing. They were doing a study on a subject with Parkinson's disease. And Professor Jacob Wilson told me the story. He came into the lab, and we're not making medical claims. This is a fact of what happened. So it's not saying this stuff does it, but this is what happened, so you guys figure it out. He was in the lab, and for some reason he was on his smartphone, the subject, and he was trying to put a number into his phone. He was shaking, as Parkinson's people do. He said, Jacob, can you just put this number in? And Jacob put the number in. And of course he had tremors. Anyway, he came back, I think the time frame was 1 week. He came back the next week for the next test. Actually, let me go back a stage. They tested him on that first day. The test, it was a cognition test. There's a huge, I think you've got a big screen TV. These guys have got a huge screen TV. I think it's about an 80-inch TV. And it's a cognition test where they have to touch certain things as the light comes up. The numbers, a normal human could get 20 out of 20. He got 7 out of 20. He came back the next week for the test, and he scored 26 out of 20. So he's better than a normal human because he's been taking the ketones. He also inputted a number into his phone, so he didn't have the seizures. And then he said, Jacob, look, and I don't have seizures. And this one really broke everybody's heads. And there was not a dry eye in the house sometimes. And he said, and Jacob, I can start to smell now. And they went, what do you mean? He said, well, I haven't been able to smell for years. Neurological. The signal, you probably know anatomy better than I do, but the signal going to the brain from your nose. So that's pretty mind-blowing for me wanting to do, what a vain goal, trying to do better on a beat test, or get a bit leaner. This guy's life changed. You guys are listening, you got your smartphone. Can you imagine not doing this with your thumbs?
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thing. What I learned was the research, there's 12 benefits of ketones proven. And there's about another 7 being researched and published this year. So beat test and some abs versus some things that change people's lives. It's not you and me that need them, Mark. It's the mum, it's the dad, it's the granddad that need them, that never felt what that's like. So what I took away, I took away the woman who lost 50 kilos. I took away, let me think on some things. Yeah, that one, there was a child having seizures and she could never say I love you because she couldn't get those words out. Not a dry eye in the house. I took away the woman who doubled her body weight in the last month of pregnancy. Doubled. Can you guys believe that? She went from, she was an athletic woman, 65, 70 kilos to weighing 130 minimum. In the last month of pregnancy, she was so fat that she would go grocery shopping at 2 a.m. so people wouldn't see what she ate. Now, can you imagine her head, how anxious and how angry she was? And we know that ketones, and I'm not talking ketogenesis, Mark, the study was done on ketones that you drink. In December 2016, it was published. Ketones reduce anxiety. So she was a different woman. She'd lost a lot of weight, but she was a nicer person because she used to be a nice person. That changed my perception of this. Decreased inflammation. So much new information coming out of the research. It was built on science. It was ketogenic diet, and the research into it was built on science, and now they're finding more and more effects of these things. So ketones are a powerful signaling molecule that tell your body to do things. You can either starve yourself, or you can go on a low-carb diet. Let's see how those stuff works out for you, unless you're a geek like me. Or you can drink them. That's the bottom line. And I was just astounded at the information and not opinionation. The research is clear. The bro science in your opinion articles is very unclear. The research is clear. The ketogenic diet and ketones have amazing effects on the body, therapeutic effects, and exogenous ketones are a great way to do that.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I could feel myself getting misty-eyed myself there, but that is it, mate. But it's important not to give yourself shit either, because it was relative to you, the goals that you had. But I think it is a stark reminder that sometimes we just realise that people are out there fighting disease and illness and internal battles that we'll never know. So when we hear these stories, it is very humbling. It does put things back into its perspective. And it definitely does just show that there is other things out there. And if people can just open their mind a little bit to watch things like this or do their own actual research instead of the first Google hit that they get that is been bought and paid for to be in those top 3 Google hits, by the way, so that you absorb the information you don't usually get. Not always, but some. But I just think if we open our minds a little bit to the fact that the science is out there for any kind of area of life if you look for it enough. But the ketones, obviously, you brought them into my life from the exogenous source. But it just shows that I always introduce you as human Google, but psychologically where I was at the time, it wasn't that I didn't trust you, it was just, oh, here's another thing, oh, thanks mate, and I put it away and I forgot about it. And then it wasn't until I was like, right, there's no way he would have gave me that if he hadn't researched this. So watch this Dom D'Agostino podcast again. It was the Tim Ferriss one, 3 hours long usually, and I think I bowed out at 1 hour 45, but you sent me the link at 1 hour 48 when he actually started speaking about its effects on cancer. And after that, my mind was just completely blown. Not only for the facts that it brought up, but just how open and clear and certain Dr. Dom was, because the emotional attachment with people, and you can understand that have been through some illness or disease, a lot of people would tend not to comment just in case people misinterpret them, misquote them, take them the wrong way, and then they say, but you said this. But I loved how, no, as a matter of fact, this is what I would do, and this is why, and this is my research, and this is what it shows, and it's just completely undeniable. And I just thought, do you know what, that's massive cojones, but it's undeniable. If you take the time to read it, there's nothing you can do.
It's so simple, Mark. It really is. You know, if we get a bit sciencey, the latest research on cancer shows that it's not your genes. It's a malfunctioning mitochondria that if you take away the sugar, they will just go through apoptosis and they'll just die off. And of course, you take away the sugar, what energy source you got? Better be ketones.
Yeah.
You know, malfunctioning mitochondria, or I forgot the wrong words, sorry, to use there. But look at the research of the labs into what this stuff is. And, you know, shout out to Emily McGuire, Masters in Nutrition. She's gone around the world. She's researching this for a PhD. Look at University of South Florida. They're doing some amazing research into ketogenic diets and cancer. And these things are working.
Yeah. The future's bright. So before we wrap up, because anyone that hasn't already followed you on Facebook or Instagram, I would say to do that. Eat well, move well, guys. Type it in. They will see some amazing pictures of food that pop up every now and again. So what's Mr. Eat Well, Move Well's go-to keto recipes? What have you got up your sleeves that we should be trying to emulate?
Wow. That's a tough one. Look, Dom D'Agostino actually put me onto it with my dessert. Let's go a fire session one. That's normally a pretty good one, because I'm normally pretty hungry there. I do a workout or two in the day. We got some pretty big stressful days. So a dinner at the fire station. I'll probably do some mushrooms, some kind of meat or fish. So we've got a bacon. So bacon, mushrooms. Put that on a bit of some green veggies, so some broccoli, some squash with some lard. That's for the meal. And then dessert, that's where I'm really getting at. Dessert, my favourite dessert of all time is organic mixed berries in a bowl, some mascarpone cheese, some cream, some chia seeds to make that go more ice cream-like, some liquid stevia drops. I like to use liquid vanilla stevia or liquid toffee stevia. Mix that in, and some nuts, because if you get a little bit of body, some cashews or some macadamias. Perfect. So beautiful little dessert meal. It doesn't sound too diety, does it?
It doesn't help a guy that's fasting just now, but yeah, it sounds amazing.
Oh.
No, thanks once again for your time, Damien. I think this was a good idea from both of us to update the last one that we did. I think the sound will be a little bit better, it will carry, but not so much that. It's just the level of knowledge that you've had since then in just the last 6 months and just how much you're embodying this. I think there's a lot of people just need to hear it. So thanks very much for your time, mate.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. And just on that, I just had some feedback last night. A personal friend of me on Facebook, and she goes, I've actually been following you for a little while since I came across Gate to Life's video. And I said, oh, do you mean the interview? So look, guys, thank you for listening. Love teaching. I don't teach my opinion. I just share knowledge of actual research. And there's new research that outdates the old stuff. So if you're interested in ketones, just put them down your throat and see the effect.
Yeah.
Don't bro science and argue. Don't argue way around it like I did. I swear I did that for about 3 months straight. I know all the stuff before I put them in my mouth. Just put them in your mouth and see the effect. God, you've got nothing to lose at all.
Perfect. Okay, doke, mate. I'm going to hit stop on this recording, but if you hang fire, you'll get a little chat. And if anyone's looking for direct contact, just get in touch with me, guys, and I can put you in touch with the great man himself, and he will look after you and get some exogenous ketones down your throat. Okay, doke. Cheers, guys. Speak to you soon.
Thanks, Mark.